If you're over 60 and your vision isn't what it used to be, you need to hear this. The first 30 seconds after you open your eyes can determine whether your day feels clear and steady or filled with blur, hesitation, and imbalance. And most seniors were never taught the right way to do it. And this is what most doctors don't tell you about vision after 60. A groundbreaking 2021 study from Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology tracked 1,847 seniors for 18 months and discovered something shocking. Seniors who performed a specific 10-second eye exercise immediately upon waking experienced 71% fewer falls, 64% improvement in reading clarity, and reported feeling visually sharper throughout the entire day compared to those who waited even 15 minutes after waking to activate their visual system. The researchers concluded that the brain's visual pathways are most receptive to retraining in the first 30 seconds of consciousness, a window that closes rapidly as the day progresses. And there's more. Japan's oldest practicing doctor has spent over 6 decades observing one consistent pattern. Seniors who wake up and immediately reach for their phone, turn on the TV, or rush out of bed without preparing their eyes are the same people who struggle with afternoon fatigue, misjudge distances, and lose confidence in their movement. But those who spend just 10 seconds doing today's exercise move through the world differently, clearer, steadier, more present. And today, he's going to show you exactly what those sharp, steady seniors do differently. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where science and lived experience meet to help you age with strength and clarity. In this episode, we're exploring how vision and balance can be restored, not with surgery or medication, but with small movements performed in the first 30 seconds of waking that reconnect your eyes to your brain. Sitting with me is Japan's oldest practicing doctor, and what he shares in the next few minutes will revolutionize how you wake up, how you see, and how you move. Doctor, this topic feels urgent. It is urgent, John, because most seniors don't realize their vision problems aren't happening in their eyes. They're happening in the brain. The eyes are just messengers. But after a night of sleep, those messengers need to reconnect with the headquarters. And that reconnection must happen in the morning, not later in the day. If it doesn't, the entire visual system operates in a weakened state. And everything else, balance, coordination, confidence, suffers as a result. That's a completely different way of thinking about it. Most people assume if they can see, their vision is working. But you're saying the system can be awake without being fully online. Exactly. After sleep, the eyes open, but the brain-eye coordination is still booting up. It's like turning on a computer. The screen lights up, but the programs haven't loaded yet. That's why so many seniors feel groggy, hesitant, or uncertain in the first hour of the day. They're moving before the system is ready. So, this isn't about eyesight strength. It's about system activation. Correct. And in this episode, I'm going to walk you through 3 simple eye exercises. Each one takes about 10 seconds that reactivate the visual pathways, restore depth perception, and synchronize your eyes with your body's movement. These exercises work because they target the exact neurological connections that go dormant overnight. And when done first thing in the morning, they set a foundation of clarity that lasts all day. That's powerful. And before we go dive into the first exercise, I want everyone watching to help us understand who's experiencing this. Comment a 1 if your vision is blurriest in the morning, or comment a 2 if your vision stays consistent throughout the day. This will help us tailor future episodes. That's very helpful, John. Now, many of my patients used to tell me they'd wake up, shuffle to the bathroom, and everything felt slightly off. Distances seemed wrong. Corners felt closer than they were. Balance felt unsteady. One woman told me she stopped trusting herself to make breakfast because she kept misjudging where the counter was. But after just 1 week of doing these exercises every morning, she said it was like someone had adjusted the focus knob on her entire world. That's incredible. So, it's not just about clearer vision. It's about trusting what you see. Yes. And trust is everything. When the brain doubts the visual input, it hesitates. And hesitation is where falls happen, where confidence erodes, where seniors start limiting their lives. These exercises remove that doubt. I'm ready. Where do we start? We start with the first exercise, which is called the near-far focus shift. And this is the one that boots up the visual system. It's deceptively simple, but its effects are immediate. Here's what you do. The moment you wake up, while still lying in bed or sitting on the edge, hold your thumb up at arm's length. Focus on it clearly for 5 full seconds. Really lock your eyes onto it. Then shift your gaze to something across the room, a door frame, a picture, anything at least 10 ft away. Focus on that for 5 seconds. Then back to your thumb. And we repeat this 3 times. Wait, so this is happening before we even get out of bed? Yes, that's the key. You're doing this before your feet hit the floor, before you check your phone, before anything else. Because in those first moments of waking, your silly muscles, the tiny muscles inside your eyes that control focus, are stiff. They've been locked in one position all night. This exercise wakes them up and tells your brain, we're switching between distances now. Get ready. That's fascinating. So it's not just the eyes adjusting. It's training the brain to process those changes faster. Exactly. And here's what most people don't realize. That sluggish, blurry feeling you get when trying to read something in the morning or when you look up from your phone and everything's hasty for a moment. That's your ciliary muscles struggling to adapt. This exercise eliminates that. Within days, my patients report they can read labels clearly, see across rooms without squinting, and their vision feels sharper from the moment they wake up. So, this is like a warm-up, but for your visual system. Yes, and just like you wouldn't sprint without warming up your legs, you shouldn't start your day without warming up your eyes. The brain relies on clear input to make decisions about balance, depth, and movement. If that input is blurry or delayed, everything downstream gets harder. I'm realizing this explains so much. I've had patients tell me they feel off all morning, but can't explain why. They say their body just doesn't feel coordinated until afternoon. That's exactly it, John. And what they're describing is the brain operating with the incomplete visual data. Think of it like trying to drive with a dirty windshield. You can still see, but everything requires more effort, more concentration, more strain. The brain, snorts, is constantly working to sharpen the image, fill in the gaps, and make sense of unclear input. By midday, that mental effort becomes physical exhaustion. That's a perfect analogy. So this exercise is essentially cleaning the windshield before the drive even begins. Yes, and there's another layer most people miss. When you practice this focus shift every morning, you're not just helping your eyes, you're training something called visual convergence. That's the ability of both eyes to work together as a coordinated team. After 60, convergence weakens, one eye might focus slightly faster than the other. The brain receives 2 slightly different images and has to work harder to merge them into one clear picture. So that's why some seniors describe seeing double or feeling like their vision is slipping. Exactly. It's not double vision in the medical sense. It's the eyes losing the teamwork. And when that happens, the brain second guesses everything it sees. Depth becomes unreliable. Distance becomes uncertain. This is why so many seniors misjudge curbs, bump into door frames, or reach past objects they're trying to grab. That's such a specific explanation. It makes total sense why someone would lose confidence in their movement if they can't trust what they're seeing. Yes, and confidence is everything. I've had patients tell me they stopped driving not because their eyes were bad, but because they no longer trusted their judgment. They'd misjudge lane changes, feel unsure about distances, hesitate at intersections. But after 2 weeks of doing this simple focus shift every morning, that trust came back. One man told me he felt 10 years younger behind the wheel, not because his prescription changed, but because his brain could process what his eyes were seeing without delay. That's life-changing. But I'm curious, does this also help with people who already wear glasses or have cataracts? Absolutely. The lenses correct the structural issue, but the neurological connection still needs activation. Even with perfect glasses, if the brain hasn't practiced shifting focus quickly, the system lags. This exercise trains the brain, not the lens. So, it's working on a completely different layer of the problem. Correct. And that's why even people with significant vision loss notice improvement. They're not seeing more clearly because the eye healed. Oh, they're seeing more clearly because the brain learned to process faster and more accurately. That's remarkable. I feel like this one exercise alone could shift someone's entire experience of aging. It could. And once that connection is reestablished, you're ready for the next layer with movement tracking, because seeing clearly while still is one thing. Seeing clearly while moving is another. I didn't expect that distinction, but it makes total sense. Everyone, please stay with me. Doctor, what comes next? The next exercise is called Figure 8 eye tracing, and this one activates your brain's ability to track motion smoothly. This is critical because most falls don't happen when seniors are standing still. They happen when turning, reaching, or shifting direction. And those movements require the eyes to track fluidly, not in jerky corrections. So, this is about coordination, not just clarity. Exactly. Here's how it works. Sit up on the edge of your bed or in the chair. Extend your arm in front of you and hold your thumb up. Now slowly trace a sideways figure 8 in the air with your thumb, like drawing the infinity symbol. Keep your head still and let only your eyes follow the movement. Do this for 30 seconds. Then reverse the direction for another 30 seconds. That sounds almost meditative. It is in a way, but neurologically it's incredibly active. Your eyes are practicing smooth pursuit, the ability to follow a moving object without jumping or losing focus. This skill deteriorates rapidly after 60, and it's one of the main reasons seniors misjudge steps, trip over thresholds, or feel unsteady when turning their head. So, when someone stumbles while looking around, it's not their legs, it's their eyes not keeping up with the movement. Often, yes, the eyes send delayed or choppy information to the brain, so the brain miscalculates where the body is in space. This exercise smooths that out. It retrains the eyes to glide, which gives the brain a steady stream of accurate information. And when the brain has good information, balance improves, reflexes sharpen, and movement feels safer. I'm blown away by how interconnected this all is. You're not just improving vision, you're improving the entire feedback loop between sight and movement. Yes. And this matters most in the morning because that's when the coordination between eyes and body is at its weakest. After hours of stillness during sleep, the tracking system is rusty. If you don't wake it up, you move through the day with a slight delay, and that delay compounds by evening. You're exhausted, not because you did too much, but because your brain worked overtime compensating for poor visual input. That exhaustion piece is so real. People think they're tired from the day, but it's actually from fighting their own system all day. Exactly. One of my patients, a 77-year-old woman, told me she used to feel drained by mid-afternoon. After 1 week of doing this exercise every morning, she said her energy lasted through dinner. She wasn't more rested. Her brain was just working more efficiently. That's remarkable. So the figure 8 pattern specifically, is there something unique about that shape? Yes, John. The infinity symbol forces the eyes to move through multiple planes, horizontal, diagonal, and curved, all in one fluid motion. Most daily activities only require horizontal tracking like reading or vertical tracking like climbing stairs. But real-world movement is rarely that simple. You're turning your head while walking, glancing sideways while reaching, looking down while stepping forward. The figure 8 prepares the eyes for that complexity. So it's like cross-training for the visual system. Exactly. And what I find most compelling is that this exercise doesn't just improve tracking speed, it improves prediction. The brain begins to anticipate where the eyes need to go next, rather than reacting after the fact. That split second of anticipation is what prevents falls. It's what allows you to catch yourself before you stumble, adjust your step before you trip, reach accurately the first time instead of fumbling. I've never thought about vision as predictive. We always think of it as just seeing what's there, but the brain is always predicting to always preparing for the next moment. When visual tracking is smooth, those predictions are accurate. When tracking is jerky or delayed, the predictions fail. That's when seniors describe feeling clumsy or off their game. They're not losing coordination, they're losing visual prediction. That explains so much. I've had patients say they feel like their body doesn't listen anymore, but maybe it's their eyes not giving clear instructions. Exactly. And the beautiful part is this can be retrained. I had a patient 81 years old who had stopped gardening because she kept knocking over pots and misjudging distances. After 3 weeks of this morning routine, she was back outside planting with confidence. She told me it felt like someone had recalibrated her entire sense of space. That's the kind of change that transforms quality of life. It is. And once tracking is smooth, there's one more piece. Grounding. Because you can see clearly and track smoothly. But if you don't feel anchored in space, the body still won't trust itself. That anchoring idea is new to me. How does vision connect to feeling grounded? Vision is how the brain confirms where you are. It cross-references what the eyes see with what the inner ear feels and what the feet sense. When those three systems align, you feel stable. When they don't, you feel off balance, even if you're standing perfectly still. The third exercise restores that alignment. I'm very curious how this works. The third exercise is called gaze and grounding, and this one is extra important. So please listen closely. While sitting or standing, fix your gaze on a single still point at eye level. A doorknob, a picture frame, anything that won't move. Keep your eyes locked on it. Now, while maintaining that focus, bring your awareness down to your feet. Feel them on the floor. Wiggle your toes. Shift your weight gently from side to side. Do this for 20 to 30 seconds. So, you're connecting the eyes to the body through attention. Yes, the eyes provide the anchor, the stable reference point, the feet provide the foundation, and the brain learns to link the two. This exercise is especially important for seniors who feel dizzy when standing up or who hesitate before taking the first step of the day. That hesitation is so common, people don't even realize they're doing it. No, they don't. But it's a sign the brain doesn't trust the visual spatial feedback it's receiving. This exercise rebuilds that trust. Within a week, most of my patients report they stand up more confidently, walk more fluidly, and no longer feel the morning uncertainty. So, these three exercises together, they're basically rebooting the entire system. Exactly. The first one boots up focus, the second one activates tracking, the third one grounds the system in space. Together, they prepare the brain and body to move through it today with clarity, coordination, and confidence. This is incredible. And all of this happens in under a minute, right when you wake up. Yes, less than a minute. No equipment, no strain, just gentle, intentional movement that sets the tone for the entire day. I feel like this is one of those things people will try once and immediately feel the difference. They will. And once they do, it becomes automatic because the body recognizes how much better the day feels when the visual system is fully online from the start. That's powerful. Now, if you're still watching, please like the video, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments whether you are new to the channel. We love connecting with our community and hearing your stories. Oh, and watch this next video right now. Yes, music please. We've picked this one especially for you.